Hey everyone, Morgan here. We're doing an answer key for the homework on matter. And question 1 starts off with us naming the different phase changes. A solid going to a liquid is called melting. A solid going to a gas, bypassing the liquid phase, is called sublimation. Liquid to solid is called freezing. Liquid to gas is called boiling. Gas to liquid is called condensation. And a gas going to a solid is deposition. All right, so what are the differences between the molecules in a sample of solid and liquid water? There are two words that I made a big deal about in class, and that is going to be speed and distance. As you go from the solid to liquid phase, the particles are going to be moving faster, and the distances between them is going to become greater. Now, when you're dealing with the molecules in a sample of liquid and gaseous water, it's more of the same, just on a much grander scale. Big increase in the speed and a big increase in the distances between them. Okay. How can you distinguish between a chemical change and a physical change? The chemical change makes new matter. You're getting new stuff forming. And in a physical change, what's happening is it's the same stuff. Okay. So, evidence of chemical change would be things like bubbling, P-B-L-I-N-G, color change, smell, heat, etc., etc. Okay. So, bubbling in chemical reactions is indication that a gas is forming. That can happen in a physical change also, just boiling itself, okay? But when you throw acid onto something like a carbonate, it bubbles because carbon dioxide is produced. What's the difference between an element and a compound? A compound contains two or more elements. Two or more elements. You will not find compounds on the periodic table. What's an atom? That is the smallest piece of an element that still has the chemical properties of that element. Okay? An element itself is something that can't be broken down by chemical means. And then a molecule is a combination of two or more atoms. They might both be of the same element, they might be of different elements, and it's not limited to just two. It could have many atoms in there. All right, going on now to the second page. What's the difference between a covalent compound and an ionic compound? In an ionic, you have metal with nonmetal, which would be something like sodium chloride. They're attracted through positive and negative charges. And in a covalent, what you have is two or more nonmetals. And they are sharing electrons. That's what holds them together. Cation and anion. Cations are positive, anions are negative. When we're talking about solutions, we have solvent and we have solute. And almost always for us, we can just go out and say that the solvent's going to be water. It's what is doing the dissolving, and the solute is what's being dissolved. Or we can even think of it as the solvent is what you have more of, and the solute is what you have less of. And a solution can be called a mixture of a solvent and a solute. However, it's better to think of it as a homogeneous mixture. Something like Kool-Aid or iced tea. Okay. So, can we distinguish between chemical change and physical change? Water boiling, that's physical. Digestion, chemical, makes new stuff. Baking cookies is chemical. Frying eggs is chemical. Bubbling in a soda is physical. Neither water boiling or bubbles in a soda make new stuff. Paper burning is chemical. Photosynthesis is chemical. Cooking meat is chemical. Breathing I would call chemical because you do actually change the chemical structure of things like hemoglobin. And sawing wood is physical. All right. Element, compound, or mixture. Water is a compound. Gold is an element. Silver is an element. If you can find it on the periodic table, it's an element. Air is a mixture. DNA is a compound. Lead is an element. Brass is a mixture. It's a mixture of two different metals, copper and zinc. Sugar is a compound. Milk is a mixture. We talked about that a lot in class. Sodium is an element. Dirt is a mixture. Kool-Aid is a mixture. Really, it's a solution, but mixture is the best of those words to describe it. Calcium is an element. Okay. Alcohol is, well, we call it a solution, so it's a mixture. There are specific alcohols that are compounds, but it's just the general term, like alcohol for rubbing alcohol is a mixture of isopropanol and water, and since it's uniform, we call it a solution. Okay, there you go. That is the homework on matter. Thanks for tuning in. This is Morgan signing off.